earthquakes are man-made. How in the heck could earthquakes be man-made? And this is your boy Neil Gonzalez, WeatherX45, bringing you the return of videos. Sorry I haven't been making these types of videos on my weather channel. It's just because I was on a school week. I was really busy, and yeah. So let's start our lesson topic of why and how earthquakes are man-made. I learned this from a website that was basically from a weather channel, and it's just, in a matter of fact, really in shock. Like, I was just basically like, I thought that earthquakes were basically natural disasters that were made by Mother Nature, but it seems not. And here is the reason why. So let's go start to this topic, shall we? Alright, so this is what it's basically happening from the form of man-made earthquakes. So we have a factory that's made for oil, carrying oil products and stuff like that, formation of government. So we got a factory. So I'm going to build a factory, not a perfect factory. So go like that. Draw a little house like that. Then we're going to draw smoke and gas being built here. Like that. Then we're going like that. Then I'm going to draw the crust. So I'm going to put crust. That'll be the crust. And this will be the fault. This is the fault. And then we gotta draw the pipe. So we gotta put a pipe. Alright, and here we go. Alright guys, so if you haven't been wondering, there is a pipe that goes underneath the crust of the factory. It carries out oil, it could carry out whatever product of liquid that is having, or acid and stuff like that. So sometimes man-made things aren't really perfect. So usually pipes could have a footage that could just basically get broken down for no type of reason, or a significant type of reason, right? So what happens is, man-made things that aren't perfect, right? So I'm going to use the blue marker to just form a liquid. So we got a liquid, oil, water, any type of liquid that goes through here, right? And what's really interesting is that the factories carry over a 9.3% of the population of liquids and oil factories and coal and stuff like that. That forms what is called fossil fuels. It's about 9.3% of the world population of making pipes of coal oil and stuff like that. So what's happening is, the pipe, when man-made things are imperfect and they don't make the pipe really like strong and stuff like that, and it travels through each segments of the city. So let's say that the pipe just breaks down for no reason, right? So we're gonna mark an X. Well, not an X. Let me do a perfect example. So we're gonna put a circle, and the circle means that there's a pipe that's broken. So we're gonna put that. There's a pipe that's broken for a significant reason. It's not perfect, man-made. And what happens is, the liquid that travels through the pipe from the city, right? So what happens is, the broken pipe that's basically caused from friction or probably unconstructed, well-made formation. What happens is, the liquid starts to travel through the inner crust beneath the Earth's surface. And what happens is, as it goes down, it hits through the fault. Basically, unstable plates. That's what we call it. Unstable plate formats. So what happens is, when liquid comes here, I'm going to put one, this here is less dense, and this here is more dense. So why is it more dense? Because there's water that's actually being fed up to this fault. And what happens is there's moisture that's basically forming around in the area of the fault line that's basically unstable. And what happens is this less dense starts to break off. And once it breaks off, and once the fault line, the one that's more dense, it will start to subduct. And what we have? Boop. We have an earthquake. So this is the epicenter here, and the earthquake becomes spread. And this is a really bad type of situation because it's rare for this to happen. How could this happen? Well, humans aren't really typically smart on being very careful at things that they should be planning out of putting significant oil coils or stuff like that they're carrying in the pipes. Because if it falls into a plate, like for example, a perfect example is Mississippi. Mississippi had a 7.5 magnitude earthquake, and that caused significant damage. Like the ones that were in close beneath the earth's surface of the epicenter, there was about 8.5 of the population that caused significant damage. Buildings were destroyed. Some homes were bent off. There was about several deaths, right? But here's the one to blame it. This is the interesting part. We had to blame it to the factory. And the reason why we had to blame it to the factory, because there's pipes that are underground that breaks off, hits through the plate, and those two tectonic plates starts to get weakened by that moisture that forms off, and the plate starts to move. And once it gets weaker and weaker, the ones that's less dense, there's going to be build-up pressure. And then once we get build-up pressure, boom! You get what's called an earthquake right there, for example, right there. So, yeah, the camera almost fell right there. But what I learned that's really interesting, an interesting topic, is that earthquakes are usually man-made. And the reason why it's man-made, because there's some factories that are beneath, like from Mississippi and also North Carolina. Why is North Carolina having like a major earthquake? Why did that happen? Because there's several factories that are being built up, and there's pipes that are underground that are being broken down because it's unconstructed, it's overwhelmed, probably it's old or something like that. It breaks down and it goes to the unstable plate. And what happens is those two tectonic unstable plates, like I said, it'll start to weaken. The one that's less dense starts to weaken. And the one that's subducting will get a lot of pressure, and boom, that's when you have an earthquake. Now, I will be showing you a couple of pictures to show you proof that how I got this from the website, and hope you guys enjoy. Boom! An earthquake strikes at Oklahoma. What should we do? But wait, what had scientists found in their own reproduction? Let's see. Interesting. That's nice to know what we had find out from today. These are the various applications that can lead to included seismicity, which means earthquake occurrence. This picture shows proof that why there are man-made earthquakes in Oklahoma. Scientists say that they should prevent this situation by getting rid of the pipes that are underneath the ground. Scientists say that approximately 7.9 millions are at risk of man-made earthquake activity. That is a lot of people, because it's just surprising in the fact that scientists carried out so many observations that they had studied about man-made earthquakes. Now, scientists are making an argument that they should end the point that with the man-made activity that they're doing with the factories and the oil coils and stuff, they think that they believe that those types of products that they make for money should be banned because it is bringing a man-made natural disaster that's causing people to be infected by it. Millions of Americans. Imagine 7.9 million Americans affected by man-made earthquake activity. Now think about that for a minute. That's just a lot of people. And the reason why is because it is such a widespread effect. And what I mean by a widespread effect is that the oil that humanity has carried throughout the whole tri-state area with trucks, coils, and stuff like that, it's just a matter of an infection that this caused the fault line when pipes break down from, just like I said, from major types of accidents that happen. It falls through the fault line, and when it falls through the fault line, that's like an unstable format of rocks. What happens is it gets moisturized by all that messy chemicals of moisture, and that forms a man-made earthquake. So, in my personal opinion, I believe that should be ended with the man-made factory products. And the reasoning why is because the earthquake is also affecting Texas as well. During in the century of 2015, there was a man-made earthquake occurrence. It was about a 7.8 magnitude earthquake. And it hit at the epicenter at the middle of Texas, and there was quite of damage, lots of damage. And I have to say that we have to do something about it to end the point of the earthquake activity, because it's becoming like extreme widespread. Another thing is that it's making government money raise high taxes from the damage that it has caused from man-made activity. Scientists fear that if we don't fix this situation, the earthquake that will be affecting Oklahoma and Texas could be even much more worse, especially for North Carolina, because there's many pipes sometimes that are underground, they're unstable, they're not perfect, they could be broken down, and what happens is coils of oils and fragments of different compositions of chemicals of liquid formats start to sink down, and there's like a broken crust that's the fault line, and it's an unstable fault line, and once it hits, what we get is an earthquake. And earthquakes could cause serious types of damage depending on how close you are to the epicenter. The epicenter is basically the beneath Earth's surface of the focal point. It's basically near the focal point beneath the Earth's surface of where the whole earthquake starts to begin during the seismic wave. All these information are carried from seismic stations. There are about 3 seismic stations on the earthquake meter. So that's why scientists had found out that it is man-made, because they used a seismometer, and they have predicted that these products that these people are doing with factories and stuff, they don't know that it's actually hurting the nature that Mother Nature has made around the world. And it's just a matter of time that we should think before we do something that could cause a mistake of natural disasters. So, hope you guys like those pictures that I showed. I showed you a couple of pictures. It's just to show you that, just a shock topic, that earthquakes are basically man-made. Not just only that, you want to even know what's even more worse? Nuclear bombs are part of the activity of making forms of man-made earthquakes. And the reasoning why is because there is a special chemical that's inside of it, gases and fuels, like fossil fuel gases that basically come down to underground. And all that explosions and war and stuff, causes a problem. And that problem is that it causes ground fragments to fall down and becomes unstable, and that forms natural disasters, earthquakes. I believe, in my personal opinion, that Mother Nature is bringing punishment to us because we're not taking care of the involvement of the earth. And it's just really pretty in shock that earthquakes are really man-made. Hope you guys liked the video. Subscribe, and also subscribe to Neil Gonzalez, the King of Comedy. And I'll see you in the next video for Weather X45. Euros to the toodles.